When you think of special education, what comes to mind? A child with an autism spectrum disorder who is nonverbal and engages in challenging behavior. A teacher working with a small group of students who may struggle to read. How about a student who has a cognitive impairment and was placed in a separate school for children with disabilities? All of these scenarios may be part of special education, but it is much more than that. As we explore this complex and rapidly changing field, you'll quickly learn that there is an immense history that is characterized by a multitude of technical terms and acronyms, and that there are strategies and interventions that we can use and work for all children.
Our kids are the hothouse flowers. They're special, beautiful people that inspire us in very different ways. I really believe that.
It has been not a battle, but a wonderful journey trying to help Jerry get where he is today and looking forward to where he's going.
We need a new generation of teachers
to join those who are already making a difference in the classrooms.
become a special education teacher.
Special ed teachers collectively, they didn't just teach me about hope for him and how he would grow. They taught me about hope for me, because you don't just change that child's education. You change their life. You change their family's life. You help support them to put them towards independence. And quality of life is not only having quality of life for yourself, but helping enhance the quality of life of someone else.
Actually, I think my quality of life is better than some other people, because I can come home at the end of the day and say, you know, I think I really made a difference. And to me, that improves my quality of life.
And just like any other job, there are positives and negatives, but my highs are higher than I think almost any other type of work.
Who was your favorite teacher?
Well, it's my English teacher. I'm 16. And I'm in the 10th grade. Every time I go in there, I just say, I need some help, and she would just smile and all. But I make her laugh. She thinks I'm smart.
It's a job I love. It's what I want to be doing. I hope that we can get more men out there. Students who have special needs, there's more boys than girls.
As we've been sitting here, my son has just been doing laps for the last, 10 minutes. And he gets like that in his classroom, and his teacher will come and take him out of the classroom, and she'll take the assignments that he's supposed to be doing, and then she'll just talk to him. The whole time they're just doing laps around the school, but it's because she's thinking outside the box and not making him have to conform.
Dear Ms. Dean, I highly appreciate all your work and support. I would never make it without you. She had burned a whole lot of bridges. She was emotionally disturbed. The principal's like, what are we gonna do with this kid? I don't know if this is the right placement for her. And I was like, well, give me a minute. These are the kids that we really need to serve. She graduates and she's gonna start college in the fall. So I can see this kid moving from, no one wants to deal with her, to, okay, she can have a future.
That's what I work for. That's just to see a student go like, wow, I can do something with my life. And what other job can you say you go into and you're laughing and you're having so much fun and you're actually making a difference in the world?
There's a personality characteristic that the best special educators seem to have. There's this genuine, deep curiosity. They're trying to figure out the puzzle that is your child. When they can do that, that's where the progress happens.
My success is really attributed to the fact that my general education teachers, as well as the special education teachers, really listened to what I was saying, that I could do anything that other non-disabled children were doing.
Once they get that special teacher, they can soar. Because I've watched my daughter go from sitting in kindergarten for a whole year, not doing nothing. She couldn't even write her name, and then getting into that enriched environment and going to the moon and back. I've seen it happen.
My whole life became difficult because of my learning disability. I'd kind of given up on myself. This special education teacher that helped me the most, his name was Alex. Alex helped me gain confidence in myself and realize that I am a better person than that, and I can do anything that anybody else can do. I think I can be Alex in someone's life.
have a child who they said wouldn't be able to walk, and he walks. They said he wouldn't talk. I can't shut him up. I'm so grateful for the teachers who have believed in him, because they too believe he can do all things.
Become a special education teacher.
Become a special education teacher. Become a special education teacher. Teach.
Teach.
As a student enrolled in this class, many of you have the goal of becoming a future educator. I'm sure that there may be a percentage of you who are not taking this course as a requirement of your program, but you will also be working with and supporting children in some capacity. Nonetheless, I'm sure each of you would have a different response to the statement, why I want to become a special education teacher or an educator. Some of you may have a sibling or a family member who has influenced your decision to become an educator. Maybe you have a family friend or an acquaintance who has a disability. Or maybe it's your passion to work with children who have disabilities. Your interest undoubtedly is in students and learning to work with them effectively. But it's equally important to understand the technical aspects of special education and what it offers to students and their families. Disability is a social construct. What that means is that the way that we understand disability is ingrained in our society's attitude towards ability, or those who differ from societal or community standards of normalcy. When most people say or read disability, they understand that word to mean a person who is unable to fully participate in typical life activities because of a physical, sensory, cognitive, or behavioral characteristic. Many of these children may require educational programs customized to their unique needs. But just because a student has been identified as having a disability, this does not automatically mean that the student will require special education services. If the student's disability does not impact their educational performance, then they do not qualify to receive a special education. Special education is the vehicle through which children who have disabilities are guaranteed to receive, within the public education system, an education specifically designed to help them reach their learning potential. It's a customized instructional program designed to meet the unique needs of an individual learner. Sometimes special equipment, technologies, services, and teaching strategies are used to deliver and meet the needs of the individual. Special education is just one component of a complex delivery system designed to assist a student in reaching his or her fullest potential. Special education is not a location, but rather are services that may be provided to benefit a student. Special education teachers often have significant responsibility for delivering services to students, but also general education teachers, paraeducators, related service providers, and other professionals or specialists also may provide special education. Furthermore, all of these educators from different disciplines and different backgrounds collaborate and work closely with one another to educate students with disabilities. IDEA, or the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, is the federal special education law that establishes all of the parameters and rules for special education. We will learn more about IDEA soon enough, But for now, what you should understand is that the law specifies 13 disability categories in which children are eligible to receive a special education. Children who have characteristics that are aligned with the definitions for these disability categories are eligible for resources, services, and supports to help them learn. A school district in Illinois receives funds from the state of Illinois and the federal government to educate any child who receives services within any of the 13 disability categories. The disability categories listed in IDEA are autism, deafblindness, deafness, emotional disturbance, hearing impairment, intellectual disability, multiple disabilities, orthopedic impairment, other health impairment, specific learning disability, speech or language impairment, traumatic brain injury, and visual impairment including blindness. If you scan the course schedule for the semester, you'll see that each of these disabilities will be discussed in detail, including the definitions as specified by law, the characteristics of students with these disorders, educational impact, and the research-based instructional strategies or approaches that are effective for teaching students with these special needs. Are these the only disabilities underneath the sun? Are these the only conditions that might cause a child learning difficulties? Absolutely not. Disability labels enable children to access services and supports they need, but also can have their dark side. Labels can be stigmatizing and lead to lower expectations on the part of teachers and on the part of students. Please look over the pros and cons of labeling that are presented in your textbook. Information is gathered each year by the U.S. Department of Education on prevalence rates as a part of IDEA. As you can see from this picture, the 13 disability categories do not have the same number of children in each disability category. Some disability populations are considered to be low incidence, meaning that there are relatively fewer students. Low incidence disabilities include autism, although I would argue that autism is no longer considered a low incidence disability, but we'll stick with what your book says. Physical disabilities, other health impairments, severe and multiple disabilities, vision impairments, hearing impairments, and deafblindness. Others are high incidence, meaning that there are relatively large numbers of students. Learning disabilities is considered a high incidence disability, making up about 43% of all students served underneath IDEA. Speech language impairments, emotional disturbance, and intellectual disability are also considered to be high incidence disabilities. You will see that the population of students receiving special education has almost doubled over the years. Approximately 3.5 million students received special education during the 1976 to 77 school year, whereas almost 7 million receive services today. However, since the year 2000, the number of students receiving special education has stabilized, and therefore, perhaps the years of rapid growth are behind us.
I've come to a frightening conclusion. That I'm the decisive element in the classroom. It's my personal approach that creates the climate. It's my daily mood that makes the weather. As a teacher, I possess a tremendous power to make a child's life miserable or joyous. I can be a tool of torture or an instrument of inspiration. I can humiliate or humor, hurt or heal. In all situations, it is my response that decides whether a crisis will be escalated or de-escalated, and a child human